Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it away. Hey everybody, welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome to tonight's live. Hopefully you guys are all having a wonderful day. What is it, Wednesday today? I don't even know. Never know. I never know. It is Wednesday though. It's Wednesday, February the 12th. So get your boots strapped. I believe it's a full moon tonight, isn't it? Isn't it a full moon? I think so. Let me know in the chat if it is. Because I have a feeling it is. We looked it up and I can't remember for sure, but I think it was tonight. So if anybody's acting out of pocket, let me know. Let me know. So, okay. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing okay? Everybody having a good Wednesday, hump day? Because I sure am. I went to the grocery store just a little bit ago and it was so busy over there, let me tell you. But I came back and I did get some documents highlighted and stuff for Idaho 4. So we're going to go over the we're going to go over those tonight. I am going to put this banner up just because all the documents that we cover here shortly, we're going to cover them. All the documents that are in pink are going to be from the prosecution. All the documents that are yellow are going to be for the court. And then all the documents that are in blue are going to be for the defense. So hopefully that'll help you guys when you come in. If you ever come into a live and you're, running a little late, you can slide on in and you know what document we're kind of talking about, at least where it's coming from. So, hey, Ladybug, how you doing? Well, you're welcome. Thank you. Hey, Princess. Hey, Cyber Warrior. I think it just doesn't count like the first like or something. It does something weird. Hey, Mike. How you doing tonight? Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Lenora. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Mandy. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Ministry of the Defense. Hey, Doodlebug. Did YouTube change something again? Because they always are changing something. Hey, Warfare. Whatever time you want to start, add 5 minutes. That's about it. I usually start about the 10-minute mark, I feel like. Oh, that's sweet that you guys are sending each other cards. Oh, that's so sweet. Hey, Michelle. She wears funny hats. I like that name. Yeah, they had that bad. You guys had that bad flooding, but aren't they starting to like fix some things down there? I heard. Hey, Wizard Walt. Hey, Lord Mama. Hey, Dawn again. Hey, Country Thing. Hey, Midwest. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. I don't want to miss anybody now because I'm almost at the end. I feel like. Hey, SSD. It's been a while. Oh no. I'm so sorry. If you need anything, let us know. Like seriously, let us know. Man, I don't like when people aren't feeling good. I almost wore a hey Randy. I almost wore a mask out. I'm not gonna lie. I took one with me. Just because I don't know, like the other day when I went out to Target, it was like yesterday, I think. When I came home, I just like wasn't feeling the best. And then this morning I wasn't feeling the greatest. And I am not trying to be sick. So we'll be praying for your hubby, praying for everybody. Thank you, Wizard Walt. I was going to ask Vincent today what he thought of my skin, and I forgot. Hey, Tempest, because someone else said something. Actually, somebody in the comment section asked me what I use, and I cannot find the comment, and I feel so bad because I feel like they thought I ignored them, and I would never do that, especially when it comes to like I don't gatekeep any products. Hey, Tempest. So, hey, Faith. I use snail mucin from Corsex. I use every product they have. The eye cream, I use their cream for your face. I use the snail mucin. It's like a dual essence. So it's 2 in 1. And I use their patches and stuff too. So all the same brand. Hey Cat K. And I feel like it's been helping my skin a lot. I really do. I used to have like like a I don't know, it looked like darker skin, like, on my forehead, like, looked like a circle almost. It was, like, patchy, and it's gone away. It's gone away, so snail mucin is where it's at. Hey, little mama. Yeah, I was like, "I'm just gonna take this mask into the store just in case." I kinda wish I woulda wore it, but, with it's like the weather here has been real weird too. It's, like, rainy and cold and, like, I don't know, and then it'll warm up, so Hey, yoga mama. I use Corsex Skin Mucin. I use, like, all over my face. I love it. I could bathe in it. In fact well, I should bathe in it. So it's snail mucin. It's like snail secretion, I guess. What? Oh, maybe that's why she got booed. Snail mucin, yeah. Ladybug got some. Did you like it, Ladybug? Ooh, Olive Garden sounds good. Okay, we'll get into tonight's live. Yeah, I've been hearing that there's, like, some flus going around. I've heard that, like, I've heard of strep throat, bronchitis. I am just not trying to get sick. Like, knock on wood, I have not been sick in 11 years. Like, I can remember, like a cold. I can't remember being sick, so I don't wanna start. Definitely don't want the flu. So, some documents came out. We'll go through the documents. Then I have this podcast that talks about Brian Kohberger and them releasing his medical records. And then I have some other stuff to show you. Just yeah, I got some other stuff. Also, I found the video of the it was on okay, so it would have been let's see what date. November 14th. So the day after, the homicides, and it was KTVB, and they were outside of the Moscow, Idaho house, and this white car passes by. Now, when people were reviewing this and they thought it was Brian Kohberger, I thought the car was like more prominent. I thought you could see it a lot better. I'll have to show you the video tonight. You barely see the car. So I don't know why we thought I never thought it was really him, but I don't know why people really thought that was Brian, that could have been Brian Kohberger, because all you see is just like this little white car. It's not like, white cars are a dime a dozen. So let me pull this up here. Hey, beauty for ashes. That's a good idea. I steam a lot of stuff. Oh, I use Cervive too. Whenever I use that on my body. Hey, Lisa. I didn't say hi to you, Mary Beth. Oh my goodness. I'm fired. I'm fired. I'm so fired. You're still sick? Oh man, feel better. Hello, Mary Beth. I sent your order out today. Sorry, it's in a different kind of box than usual, but it was the one I had and I wanted to get it out to you. So it's all in there. It all looks nice. I wrote you a little card too, wrote you a little note. So hopefully you like it. Now I wish I could tell you that Judge Hippler gave us a decision, but as of right now, I don't see a decision in here. But we will go through and we'll just kind of, I'm going to give you the summary of each of them, because they're not like groundbreaking, but a lot came out. A lot of documents came out, and I was like so excited. I was sitting in here, like, I didn't get home until late from the store. So I was sitting in here like reading them really quick, and I was, trying to highlight the important parts, and I'm like, oh, really? So maybe I overlooked it, but I don't think I did. So it says here, as you see, state of Idaho versus Brian Kohberger. This is going to be for the prosecution. It says, come now as the state. They requested an extension to the state's rebuttal expert deadline from Thursday, February 13th, 2025 to Monday, February 17th, 2025. So they're just asking for an extension. The reason for this extension are outlined in the affidavit of Ashley S. Jennings, Exhibit State 1 attached to this motion. Now, I want to know what State Exhibit 1 is. I'm very curious. The state has discussed this with defense counsel, who has indicated they do not have an objection to this request. Well, they might have an objection to the next request. So then they come back again. The state does. And they're asking for a motion to seal that exhibit. So whatever S1 is. Motion to extend state's rebuttal expert disclosure deadline. So this here is, I believe, state of Idaho. It's for an order sealing the affidavit of Ashley S. Jennings for the Exhibit 1. And we'll see if she gets it. Did she get it? We'll see. They're wanting more stuff sealed. So then the next document that comes, and that's all that these are really saying, it just says, so this one here, the reason why they want it sealed is because it says state's motion to extend state's rebuttal expert disclosure deadline herein because of affidavit contains personal private information. And they are allowed to do that. I have an article that says that they don't have to give all their discovery up. So the next document is from prosecution, and it says motion to seal Exhibit S1, state's response to defendant's 22nd supplemental request for discovery. Now, and I'll read this one a little more. To your business comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney, and hereby moves the court pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32G1 and Idaho Code 774-124B for an order sealing Exhibit State 1, or S1, to the state's response to defendant's 22nd supplemental request for discovery herein. So they don't even want to give this to the defense. They're like, no. This motion is supported by the previous stipulation of the parties to seal exhibits which contain facts that have not been made public and would likely impede the ability of the court to find a fair and impartial jury. That's how I read that anyway. Like it says, order sealing exhibit S1 to the state's response to defendant's 22nd supplemental request for discovery. So I looked up, like, can they do that? You know, or can they? And it says, I'm just going to read the highlighted part. So I typed in, can the prosecution withhold certain evidence from the defense? And the prosecution does not need to offer a completely open book to the defense. Prosecutors do not need to share their theory of the case with the defendant's attorney, nor do they need to provide them with notes taken about the case. I didn't know that. These are protected by the work product rule, which covers an attorney's impressions, observations, and subjective thoughts about a case. Discovery is limited to objective types of information, such as police records, scientific evidence, and witness lists and statements as discussed above. So there are things that, you know, Bill and them, they don't have to give. They don't have to give, you know, if they don't want to, if they don't want to give it. You know, like their playbook. Who's going to do that? Then they're going to know what your playbook is. And then it says, does discovery mean that the prosecution has to reveal its case strategy? No. Discovery rules generally distinguish between raw information like names of witnesses, police reports, and drug and alcohol test results, and attorney theories and strategies. The latter is called work product. Prosecutors don't have to turn over their work product to defendants, otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Lawyers would be incentivized to hide their work or do less of it. Yeah, I guess that, yeah. Learning new things, I know, right? Learning new things. I think it's a full moon. I'm pretty sure it was today. Has anyone looked outside? I haven't looked out. And hey, everybody coming in. I didn't see Trixie. But welcome in. Welcome on in. If you guys don't mind, hit the like button for me. It does really help get the video out, and that would really help me out. And it's free to do, and you guys are awesome. I know you guys probably already have a bunch of likes. Let's see. Look at that. We need more. More than that. We could do better than that. I'm over here reading documents here. These are not fun. These are not fun documents. I'm trying to make them as fun as I can. So this is the state of Idaho. This is the state's response to the defendant's 22nd supplemental request for discovery. That's a lot of request for discovery. When you're sitting on terabyte after terabyte after terabyte after terabyte that you say that is so much, voluminous amount, but then you ask for more. So it says, to the defendant, Brian Christopher Kohberger, and counsel Ann Taylor. So this is addressed to them. It says, comes now the state of Idaho by and through Latah County prosecuting attorney and submits exhibit S1 filed under seal in response to defendant's 22nd supplement request for discovery filed on January 28th, 2025. And then it just goes through where the state has responded to the defendant's request for discovery. That's all these are right here. All 20 of them or whatever it was that we were talking about. Is it 20? 22 or something? Let's go back up. We'll see. Let me go back and see. This is his 22nd. Yeah. 22nd time. So then finally Judge Hippler comes in and says something. And he says, this ain't what we were looking for. Order extending state's rebuttal expert deadline. So it's hereby ordered that the state's rebuttal expert deadline is extending from Thursday, February 13th to Monday, February 17th. And that's the first document that we had looked over. They just asked if they could have an extension. The state did, and they're getting it one. It's just over the weekend, an extension. They gave, I guess, good just cause for them to do that. Oh, look, and it says that too, and good cause. So, okay. I've read a document a time or two. And then this is the courts again. The order sealing Exhibit S1, the state's motion to extend state's rebuttal expert disclosure deadline. It says based upon the state's motion to seal Exhibit S1, affidavit of Ashley S. Jennings, attached to the state's motion to extend state's rebuttal expert disclosure filed herein is exempt from disclosure and is sealed pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule, and it gives the rules. For the reasons stated in the said motion and until a hearing can be held on this matter. So maybe after they have a hearing, they'll unseal it and we'll be able to see what S1 is. Doubtful, but maybe. I don't know. He seems like he was going to give us a little more than what Judge was going to. But it's like we haven't really gotten a lot, Hey, Texas Ranger. Hey, Chantel. Hey, Raina. Hey, Pancakes. Welcome in, everybody. Oh, there's Trixie. I was like, I didn't see Trixie. There she is. This is a lot of little documents. So they're going to seal this. And then the last one. Oh, is this the same one? No, it just looks like it. Order, it says, this is from the court. Order sealing Exhibit S1, state's response to defendant's 22nd supplement request for discovery. And it says herein is exempt from disclosure and is sealed. I don't know how many times they had to say that this S1 was sealed, but they told us about 15 times, it seems like. So, Monday's President's Day, no court. Look at them, Susan, being sneaky snakes. They're going to go in there on a Monday and be like, let's get this work done. No, I don't know. I don't know what they needed it for. I don't know why they needed the extension. I don't know why there's really anybody needs extensions at this point. I mean, it's been 2 years. It's been actually over that. November was what? December, January. We're 2 years and 3 months. That's a long time. That's a long, long time. Do you think that we're going to get a decision from him anytime soon? Or is he just going to not give us any? Patricia, I'm wondering the same thing. Or if just Bill is just saving his breath. It's one or the other, you know what I mean? Because when he gets up, I mean, he says some stuff. I mean, he talks some shit. I mean, I forget what Ann Taylor said one time, but he was like, that's life. And I was like, oh, it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Your predictions Friday. We should do it. Yeah. I need a whiteboard. We need to do like a predict. Because that's actually, you know what? Probably Friday. You're probably right. He'll drop that crap on us and then run. It's so hard to believe it's been that long. I know. I thought about playing one of my older videos just to see what we were like, where we were, like where I was, maybe where the chat was. Because a lot of the people that are in our chat are still here. And if they're not here for every live, they're here, here and there whenever they can make it in. So I saw this. It came out a day ago, and it's 3 key things in Brian Kohberger's medical records that may save his life. So I think they're going to talk about the visual snow and stuff like that. I didn't get a chance to listen to all of this beforehand, so we're going to listen to it together. And this, I swear this thing has a bunch of commercials. Let me get through the commercials real quick. Okay. Let me pull this up for everybody. And we'll listen to this, and then I got some more stuff for us to listen to or go over. So we could read through this. It says, Brian Kohberger, the accused in the brutal murder of 4 University of Idaho students, has remained a mystery until now. A breakthrough in his case has emerged as prosecutors gain access to his full medical and psychiatric records, providing what could be the first real glimpse into his mental state. Could this be the missing piece of the puzzle that explains his alleged actions? You think he's mental? For months, speculation has swirled around Kohberger's behavior, personality, and mental health history. Former classmates have described him as socially awkward, controlling, and emotionally detached. Reports of his struggles with substance abuse, dramatic personality shifts, and obsessive tendencies have fueled theories that an undiagnosed mental illness could have played a role in the murders. But until now, it's all been speculation. With Idaho law barring an insanity defense, Kohberger cannot claim he was legally insane at the time of the murder, so why does his mental health history matter? Experts believe these records could become a key factor in his sentencing. If his legal team can present evidence of serious, untreated mental illness, they may be able to argue against the death penalty, following in the footsteps of cases like Nicholas Cruz and James Holmes, where psychiatric conditions help spar the defendants from execution. I don't know Nicholas Cruz or James Holmes, but were their IQs really low also? Because that has something to do with it. And I'm telling you, Brian Kohberger does not have a low IQ. But the prosecution isn't backing down. Instead, they may argue that Kohberger was fully aware of his actions, that his behavior was calculated, and that his mental health struggles, if they exist, do not absolve him from responsibility. With mounting evidence, including DNA, surveillance footage, and cell phone records, they will likely present Kohberger as a highly intelligent but deeply disturbed individual who meticulously planned the crime and could face the ultimate punishment. So what's actually in the psychiatric records? Will they show a history of diagnosed mental illness, therapy sessions, prescription medications, or will they reveal that Kohberger was simply a methodical, cold-blooded killer, fully aware of his actions? I'd love to be a fly on that wall for him to talk to, for him to just to be in there when he's talking to his, counselor or psychiatrist, just see what he says. Because he doesn't talk. Would he say anything? Would he talk? Would he say something? So while we're watching this, I'll put up some overlays. That way, you have something to look at other than just like this. And this is only 15 minutes long. So it's 20 minutes long, and they have a million commercials, so it won't be too long. And thank you guys for being here.
Killers with Tony Bruschi.
Now, people don't just want to hear about a crime. They want to understand it. They want to get inside the mind of the person who committed that crime, and they want to know why. At least I know what I like to do here at Hidden Killers and True Crime Today, trying to figure out what drove the person to do what they did. What is the recipe that makes up that person? You hear me use that term quite a bit. We're going to do just that on this episode. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into the case of Brian Kohberger. We're going to dig into the psychology of Brian Kohberger and why all of that matters right now, because medical records, health records, all of that are now beginning to come into play as the prosecution just got their hands on it. So what does this all mean? How do we break all this down? Well, let's go back to the start of this and stay with me, okay? And if you have any comments about this, any insight yourself, love to hear it in the comments section. If you're watching this on YouTube, that exists there. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you can always, of course, go to our social media or jump over to our YouTube channel and comment there. I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear if you agree, you disagree, why. It's always good. So what kind of person commits a crime like this, like the one that Brian Kohberger is accused of committing? Were they born with something different in their brain? Did something happen along the way? Was it planned, or did he just snap one night and said, I'm going to go kill 3 college girls and a boy? How did this happen? Why did this happen? When it comes to Bryan Kohberger, the accused in the University of Idaho murders, we might be closer to getting some answers in that department, because the prosecution now has access to his medical and psychiatric records. This may not sound like much at first. After all, Idaho does not even allow the insanity defense, a la Lori Vallow Daybell. But if Kohberger is convicted, these records could become the difference between life in prison or the death penalty. So what's actually in these records? What do we already know about Kohberger's mental health history, and how could it shape the outcome of the case? Let's break it all down. Bryan Kohberger's early mental health struggles. Let's start there, because we heard about some of this stuff.
Ann Taylor really gave him a makeover, didn't she? I mean, a little bit of gel and a suit turned this guy all around. I mean, really. He went from like this to like looking like he, was on the cover of GQ or something, which I don't think he's attractive, but you know what I mean. The suit, the hair. I don't know if he's doing something to the eyebrows or not in jail. I don't know if he's pulling them out or what, but they do look like they're receding. I mean, they don't look as like prominent. Just, I don't know. His skin color and everything. Maybe he was on the rugs before he went into jail and he got off of them, because he just looks healthier. Like this picture, not so much. But other pictures, like he got his confidence just started building. I don't know what Ann Taylor's telling him, but she's a confidence booster.
Early on. Let's take a trip
back. Let me find another picture of him.
Because you may have forgotten some of this. It's been 2 years now almost since some of this stuff started coming to light.
Look at this guy.
To understand all of this, we're going to go.
That's a difference. We got Kohberger again. We need an old picture of Kohberger. Look. Oh, where's that one? Hold on, I got this one. Does he change his appearance every so many years? His whole appearance?
Back to where it all started here, not just to the crime, not just to his time in college, but to his childhood. Because if there's one thing we've learned from other criminal cases, it's that patterns of mental health struggles usually don't start the moment of the crime. They build up over time. Kohberger was born in 1994 and grew up in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. He wasn't the kind of kid people described as dangerous or violent, but he also wasn't exactly outgoing either. It doesn't make a criminal, just that's how he is, or he was. Classmates and people from his childhood remember him as a shy, withdrawn, and socially awkward kid. Hey, I was one of those too. But then something changed. When he reached high school, Kohberger underwent a dramatic transformation. He lost a significant amount of weight, which for most people might be a confidence boost. But for Kohberger, that change came with a personality shift that some described as unsettling. Some of his classmates say he became more arrogant, more aggressive, and more detached. It wasn't just about losing weight. It was like he wanted people to see him differently. But he wasn't quite sure how to make that happen. And then there was the drug use. Kohberger reportedly struggled with heroin addiction as a teenager. He later managed to get clean, but the fact that he even went down the road raises big questions about what was really going on inside his head. Because let's be honest, heroin isn't a party drug. People don't casually experiment with heroin. Most of the time, it's used as an escape, as a way of self-medicating, something much deeper. And for some, that something deeper is undiagnosed or untreated mental illness. So, was Kohberger already struggling with something serious? And did anyone ever step in to help? Let's look at the college years and the accusations of his fascination with the criminal mind. When Kohberger went to college, he made an interesting choice. He studied criminal justice.
So did I. Where are you getting at?
Let's be clear. There's nothing unusual about being interested in criminology. It's why we're all here. Millions of people are fascinated by true crime. You're probably one of them. I'm one of them. But Kohberger wasn't just watching documentaries. He was actively studying the behavior of criminals. And that's good. We need people to do that. We need investigators that can understand these sort of things. Just not necessarily criminals doing that. At DeSales University, he earned a master's degree in criminal justice. And during that time, he conducted a research project where he asked criminals about their decision-making process. Here's some of the questions that he asked. How do you select your victims? How did you prepare for the crime? What were you thinking afterwards? There was a lot more too. It wasn't casual curiosity. It was methodical. It was as if there was something in him that he was trying to see the inside of a mind of a killer. It makes you wonder if he's looking in the mirror a little bit going, do I have these signs? I mean, that's just my own speculation on some of those questions. Then he took it a step further. In 2022, he enrolled in a PhD program in criminology at Washington State University. But by the time he got there, people started noticing things. Students who interacted with him described him as cold, distant, and arrogant. Maybe kind of in line with his personality and what people had recognized earlier. Again, doesn't make you a murderer. Some people just come across that way. Some of his students, because yes, he was also a teaching assistant, said he was unfair, unpredictable, and sometimes aggressive. And then right before the murders, he stopped working as a teaching assistant altogether. He got fired because of not interacting well with the students, not playing well, if you want to be kind of brash about it. That's when people really started to wonder, was something breaking inside his mind? The newly unsealed medical records are revealing some interesting things, or at least they're probably going to reveal some things. These medical records and psychiatric records that have now been handed over to the prosecution. Here's what we know. These records include mental health evaluations and prescription history. They were previously sealed, but have now been turned over under a court order. The exact contents have not yet been made public, but the fact that they exist at all is significant. Let's talk about why this actually matters. The fact that the prosecution now has these. Because the defense said, we don't want to give those up early on. Even though Idaho doesn't allow an insanity defense, these records could still come into play just a little bit later, specifically during sentencing. Okay, these might not even come up in the actual trial. Because if Kohberger is convicted, his lawyers might argue that his mental health struggles meant he shouldn't be executed. And that argument has worked before. Similar cases where mental illness changed the outcome are out there. Let's talk about Nicholas Cruz, the Parkland school shooter. Cruz pled guilty to killing 17 people. And the only question left was, would he get life in prison or the death penalty? His lawyers focused entirely on his mental health history, his neurological issues, his psychiatric diagnosis, and his traumatic childhood. And guess what? It worked. The jury spared him from execution. And there's James Holmes, the Aurora Theater shooter. His lawyers argued that he was severely schizophrenic, that his crime was driven by delusions. The prosecution fought back, saying he knew exactly what he was doing. The verdict? He was guilty, but no death penalty. Now let's get back over to Kohberger.
I've been saying that. I don't know why, but I think he's going to get like life without parole plus like some years. And like probably like plus like 300 years. I don't know, to where he can never come out. Whether he makes a deal, I don't know. I've had a feeling since like for a while, since they like arrested him around that time. I don't know. They don't put a lot of people on death row in that state, it seems like. I mean, the last guy, what was he on death row for, like 40 years or something? Like, that's a long time. That's a lifetime almost to some people. Like, if you go, especially if you go in, let's say you're 30 years old, you're 40 years at 70. That's a lifetime. That's a long time to be on death row. I guess that would be actually, I mean, a pretty good punishment for the fact that they are isolated and they're not around other inmates, so they don't get that interaction. They don't get the iPads and all the good stuff, I don't think.
If these newly unsealed records show a serious mental illness diagnosis, his legal team could try to do the same thing. They might not be able to argue that he's innocent, but they could fight to keep him alive. And that may be where they're at right now. One can't believe that the defense of Kohberger is sitting there going, gosh, we got a great defense. He loves looking at the stars at night. What jury is not going to believe that? At a certain point, in certain cases, if you're the defense attorney, you have to say to your client, hey, look, I don't know that we're going to be able to keep you out of prison. Right now, it may just be, let's not get you executed by your firing squad. Are we there yet? I don't know.
I wonder if that's what she's saying.
And Taylor has to do what Kohberger wants. She's representing him. He is the one that ultimately does call the plays. How will the prosecution respond to all of this? The prosecution isn't just going to let this all slide. Their argument is going to be mental illness or not. This was a planned, calculated crime. And they have the evidence to back it up. His phone records allegedly show him stalking the victims for weeks before the crime. He turned his phone off the night of the murders. An intentional move, many are arguing, to avoid tracking right at the time of the killings. Shows him driving into the area, phone goes off, and it's back on. It is way back to Pullman, Washington. There is no evidence of a sudden
he's probably got lost
or psychotic episode here.
I think he took the phone with him because I think he had a fear of getting lost. Like he was going to turn it back on to use the GPS or something. Like a dum-dum.
Can convince the jury that Kohberger was fully aware of his actions, then his mental health won't save him from the death penalty. So what's next? All right, now those medical records are still sealed, but at some point they are going to be made public. And when that happens, we're going to learn a lot more about Kohberger's mental state, whether he had a formal diagnosis, whether he was medicated, whether there was warning signs that people ignored.
Let's see if he looks medicated in the picture.
Visual snow that he talked about, allegedly, in some writings when he was a teenager. That's all out there. Having a real hard time relating to other people, having a real hard time. Because if that is him that was writing about that, he's flat out saying he did not feel, he did not connect with people, that he recognized a difference in himself at a certain point in his life where it was almost like a switch was flipped off. And I'm just paraphrasing here, but that's essentially what it was saying. It was a young man that was reaching out for help, reaching out to go, am I normal? Is this common? What is happening to me?
Every teenager thinks that. Sorry to break the news to Kohberger. He was probably going through puberty because some of the stuff was when he was like a teenager that he was writing about. So, I mean, who doesn't think that?
You know, when we're all in that age, 15, 16, 17, right around there, and everything starts to seem a little bit different. Trying to figure out what is going on.
It's called puberty. We all usually get through it, and we don't unalive 4 people and break into their home while doing it.
So you got to give someone credit for that, for trying to reach out. But was that
Well, if he was trying, sorry, I keep pausing it, but if he was trying to reach out, he would have reached out to his parents. And I'm sure that his parents would have tried their hardest and everything. They would have tried everything to get him exactly the help that he needed. They seemed like that type of parent. I mean, like, especially like we were talking about last night with his mom writing on that website, when he was going off to school, how much she was going to miss him, and how she was concerned about him making friends and stuff out there.
Enough. Did that answer any questions for him? Did that get him on a path to get any sort of help, and did it just not work? Or was it just left to what that is? You go online, you go into a chat room, you go into a Reddit, you do whatever, and that's where it is. You get your information out there and it's done. When it all comes out, it could shift the entire conversation about this case, those medical records. Because at the end of the day, this trial isn't just about what he did, it's about why he did it and whether that answer changes what happens next. We don't know exactly what will happen next. Trial is set for later this summer. There'll be many more motions between now and then, and very likely this trial could get pushed back even further. But what those medical records reveal,
I think his family would be okay. The Gonzalez family, they go to a lot of the hearings and we don't even see them on video. We don't see them like entering the courthouse or leaving the courthouse. I think we've seen that maybe once, maybe twice. So they may be able to do something or sneak them in a side door. I don't know. I'm sure that they could accommodate something, but I'm thinking maybe his parents are waiting until the actual trial. I don't know. I hope that he has some contact with his family, though. I do hope that, because I hope he has some contact with his family.
may be the difference between life and death for Brian Kohberger. Be sure to press subscribe wherever you are getting podcasts so you don't miss any of our updates on this case and all of the cases we follow for you right here at True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast. I'm Tony Bruschi. Thanks for joining us.
The world of true crime never stops, and neither do we. Press subscribe now to
watch whatever you want from wherever you are.
TPRD chiller with your friends.
Only judges you
Get the NTP
to your house.
Enjoy a safe
and refined
My
performance.
goodness.
Discover.
That was a lot of commercials at the end. That was a lot. Okay. I was going to see what this was. Like there's more, we'll come back to that. There's more like little podcasts and stuff that are on that we could listen to. Let me take the banner down, or the Brian Kohberger, old Brian Kohberger picture. I got a lot of them. I got more than I need. I haven't deleted a lot of these because we play so many podcasts, and it was hard to like download pictures for this case because they were all like locked. I don't know. I'm not good with computers. I'm learning. I got a new one. This is my year to learn how to use them. If you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button for me. I try not to ask you guys too much, but because I know how it can be. But your girl could use the likes. She could use to get this video out into the algorithm, since all the videos that are in the algorithm right now are not true crime. I don't know where the true crime people are, but I lost them. So next thing I was going to go over is this article. It has Howard Blum in it. And take him with a grain of salt, take him with a grain of salt. See if I can maybe put me down here. That way you guys can see the article a little better. Oh, look at that. Chosen, you've been a member for 11 months. Thank you so much for being a member for so long. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. I like your new picture. I think I told you that, though. Or is that another new picture? Looks like a different new picture. You look nice. See, Ladybug doesn't try to. She tries not to ask too much too. She said, hit that like button and subscribe. Yeah. We're like getting so close to 19,000 subscribers. I feel it. Okay. So over the past 2.5 years, I've spent weeks in that small college town where 4 students were viciously stabbed to death in the middle of the night. I've spoken to local Moscow, Idaho law enforcement with firsthand knowledge of the grim events. I've questioned FBI agents knowledgeable about the Bureau's exhaustive hunt to find the killer, and I have traveled to hardscrabble, Pennsylvania communities where the suspect, Brian Kohberger, was raised and schooled. After conducting 300 interviews and poring over piles of documents, I am convinced that that Kohberger, now 30, is guilty of the murders. This isn't me saying this. Of Madison Mogan 21, Kaylee Concalves 21, Xana Kernodle 20, and Ethan Chapin 20 on November 13th, 2022. But my opinion, of course, means little to a judge and a jury. And as the criminal case against Kohberger has moved through a series of combative legal hearings before a trial scheduled to start this August, several stunning courtroom revelations have left me thinking about the previously unthinkable. Kohberger may walk. It's not that I now believe that the recovering heroin addict turned criminology student is innocent. It's that he may, in my mind, have committed the nearly perfect crime. Well, and I can agree with that. Whoever committed this crime, it was damn near perfect. If it's not Brian Kohberger that did this, let's just say, play devil's advocate, then it is the perfect crime. Because that means whoever did do this is still running around out there. But that means whoever did this, they went in, they killed 4 people, and then no more crimes. Or I guess they could have moved, so no more crimes in that area, but no more crimes in that area. So that says a lot. It says, Ann Taylor, Kohberger's lead defense attorney, last month shared startling new information that will be, I suspect, the foundation of her trial defense. Mary Beth, thank you for gifting out 5 more memberships. I just came to the screen to see what was going on. Thank you so much. Everyone, make sure you have your gifts turned on. If you don't know how to turn on your gifts, you should be able to go up where it says 5 gifts at the top of the chat. Click on that, and I think it'll drop down and it'll say like allow gifts, but I'm not completely sure. I know mine's turned off and it's in my settings. You don't think it's his first crime? Yeah, AZ. I think that they do have some sort of evidence that we don't know about. They only put in everything up until they're like what arrested Kohberger. So, I mean, we know that they've done a lot more things since then. And I did have a question for you guys. When did they take out? Okay, so you know how they said that they took out like the walls and the baseboards and the floorboards because they wanted to test it all for evidence, or test it all for like, BLOD and all that stuff. When did they take that out of the house? Like, and do you remember when that cleaning crew showed up? And they had they put tarp up at all the way to the door. Why would it matter if we saw them taking out trash bags? Because that's what it would be. They wouldn't be taking out bloody articles. I wouldn't think, unless they were taking out the floorboards, and that was who was hired to do all that stuff. And they just said they were a cleaning crew. Because I'm like, there were so many cameras on that house all the time. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw them taking out big pieces of wood. It's just, it's telling. I'm wondering. You think so, BJ? Oh, it's all interesting. Very interesting case. I'm surprised they didn't. Yeah, I don't think they must have like not tested, but they would have had to tested everything in there. But it's crazy because you see all the beer bottles and you see like, the cups, all the solo cups laying around from where they had played like, beer pong a couple nights before or whatever it was, a week before. So. Oh yeah, he's in here and chosen. Look at that. Welcome, friends. Welcome, friends. I hate that this is on the side of this. It's always so busy. It makes me look. And Taylor Kohberger's lead defense attorney last month shared startling new information that will be, I suspect, the foundation of her trial defense. She revealed that BLOD, I have to say it like that because they did shut down my stream the other night for using the S word too much. So it does happen before anybody comes after me in the comments. From a still unknown male. So red stuff from an unknown male had been found on the stair handrail of the murder house at 1122 King Road. In addition, the same stuff from another still unknown male had been found on a glove outside the home. Yeah, that's pretty. So that must have been the glove that the police found on the 20th. That they should test that. They should have tested that. Maybe they didn't want to like reveal that they had this other evidence and they needed to test people for it. I could see that, but they could have still got DNA swabs from people and maybe they did. But if they all came back and they weren't on, the person, I don't know. It just says a lot because the front door was open at 8:30 or 9 o'clock the next morning. That's before the surviving roommates woke up or at least called 911. So if they didn't open that front door, who opened the front door? It's just, I don't know. And the red liquid was found on the banister from the second to the first floor. So like you were going out the front door or going up, coming in from the front door. So it says, blood, unknown visitors. The residence was a party house. People were coming and going all the time. One could reasonably expect the handrail to be covered in fingerprints, but blood, and why would it be on a glove? Even Ada County District Judge Judge Hippler was caught up in this new mystery. Does this suggest the potential of other persons involved? Hippler wondered out loud at the hearing last month. That doesn't exclude Kohberger, he was quick to add. But the unknown blood did raise the possibility that there might have been accomplices in the murder. Taylor, though, was prepared with her own theory. Perhaps she offered one of the two unknown males whose red stuff had been found had planted Kohberger's DNA at the scene. No, not a chance in hell. If someone's going to plant DNA evidence on somebody, they're not going to just get some skin cells. And how did they get the skin cells to put on the button snap? That's just no, you would have a lot more, you'd put a little more DNA out there than that. In my humble opinion. Taylor, though, I read that, sorry. So it is a hypothesis, tentative, still in, I don't know this word. We're going to look it up. Inchoate. Doesn't even give me a definition. That still no doubt be fleshed out this summer in a case that is suddenly more open than shut. Indeed, at the crux of the case against Kohberger is DNA, smaller than a speck of floating dust found on a knife sheath discovered laying adjacent to the bloody body of Madison Mogen. The technicians at the FBI crime lab in Quantico, Virginia, were able to upload this particle of DNA to a genetic database, and that led them to a currently unknown member of the Kohberger family who had shared their DNA information with an online ancestry website. Do you think that family member feels bad? Would you feel bad? I mean, I don't know what I would feel. That I would be stunned. I'd be stunned. I don't know if I'd feel bad though, because look what they did. But I would be stunned. I would be very stunned. Only it turned out that the FBI lab team had been too zealous in their rush to identify a suspect. It was revealed in court last month that they had accessed 2 online databases that explicitly prohibit law enforcement from using their inventories. It was a violation of the terms of service the sites offered their customers, as well as Justice Department policy. And the Kohberger defense team is determined to make this unprofessional behavior into something more. They want to use it as a wedge to pry open the entire case against him. Kohberger's Fourth Amendment right to privacy, they asserted, had been violated, and as a tainted consequence, all the subsequent searches that followed in the investigative wake, most significantly, DNA taken from a cheek swab after his arrest, should be thrown out. They wanted it all thrown out. The apartment, the Amazon, all of it. The house in Pennsylvania, the car, everything. They wanted it all thrown out. They still want it all thrown out. Judge Hippler listened to the eye-catching thesis and didn't rule out the possibility of holding a formal Franks hearing later this month, named after Jerome Franks, the victimized defendant in a 1978 landmark Supreme Court case. The proceeding would consider whether law enforcement had knowingly included false information in the affidavits that convinced magistrates to issue search warrants. If these search warrants are ruled illegal, the trial of Kohberger crumbles, for nearly all of the evidence that remains is circumstantial. I mean, she's smiling at him like she loves him, you know what I mean? Like she's believes him. I don't know. That looks like a genuine smile to me if she's smiling at Kohberger. I mean, he's even almost smiling. Maybe she really believes him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she doesn't ask. Maybe she didn't ask. I would ask, did you do it? But, I mean, that's just me. Kohberger's car, the prosecution alleges, was in the neighborhood of the house where the murders occurred at approximate time of the killings. His cell phone has been suspiciously shut off for that period. A surviving roommate had seen a man dressed in black and wearing a partial mask in the house who largely resembled Kohberger. When he was arrested at his parents' home across the country in Pennsylvania, the state police found him wearing kitchen gloves and sorting his personal garbage into plastic bags as if to hide his genetic identity. The DNA on the snap of the knife sheath established that it belonged to a member of the Kohberger family, and most incriminating, the DNA from a cheek swab taken after Kohberger's arrest was a direct match to the genetic material on the knife sheath. None of that amounts to a smoking gun. On the other hand, there was no blood of any of the 4 victims found on Kohberger, his clothes, his car, or in his off-campus apartment. We don't know. There was red stuff that's being tested or been tested. I'm sure it's been tested by now, but we didn't have that before the affidavit. So we didn't have those tests back. Animal hair, like that they found, we didn't have those tests back. So it says, this had been a murder scene where torrents of red stuff had gushed, breaching the walls of the house and branding the interior with jagged red rivets. How could he stay so clean? Dicky suit. You know what? Why didn't we do that? Why didn't we do like a experiment? I need a Dickie suit. I'm gonna write that down. Or Vincent needs a Dickie suit. One of us does, because one of us gonna get messy. But I mean, I wonder how much it would withhold. Like, I wonder how much liquid a Dickie suit could like withhold. Kosher foods, yeah. Hey, Tony. Hey, Ulcer. See, I don't know. That she did bring that up about the blood in his apartment, but they did find a red substance. We just heard it last night. I forgot about it, but I remember it now. They found like a red substance, but it could have been. It was like on his sheets. It was on the mattress pad, and I believe like a pillowcase. But it could have been a nosebleed. Like, I mean, that's a simple thing. Like, it could have been like just something like that he had. Like, people get hurt. But still, it says that no connection between Kohberger and any of the victims has ever been established. There was, in resolute fact, no proof that he had ever been in the house on King Road where the victims lived. The suggestion that he stalked any of them, his lawyer asserted, was an outright lie. There is no direct link between Kohberger and a murder weapon. The K-bar knife used in the killings has never been found. Don't think it ever will be found. I think it's in the Snake River. Oh, Mary Beth, everybody is going to be green in here. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. And everybody that gets gifted a membership, it goes to a Titan Tier 1. So you're like in the middle, like there, we have Titan emoji and then Titan Tier 1. So you get like up on one tier, which is pretty cool. And it lasts for a month, and then it'll send you an email asking if you want to still be a member. And hopefully you'll still want to be a member. We're pretty cool over here. We're pretty cool. We're pretty cool. And we do like members only lives. And I've been telling you guys like just over the last, couple weeks, because we're redoing everything, revamping, that we will be doing some members giveaways, and just I got some stuff planned for you guys. It's really exciting. Really super, super exciting. Today, like the standing desk came, a tree, of all things, a tree, and something else. I forget what the other thing was. Something else. I forget. But it's all coming together. It's all coming together. I'm excited. I'm not taking anything out of the boxes until it's like all here. So it says no connection or no direct link between Kohberger and a murder weapon. So I just read that part. It was never confirmed that Kohberger's car had parked by the victim's house, and all the surveillance camera videos of a white car traveling by King Road at the time of the murders, there was not a single photograph that showed Kohberger sitting behind the wheel or an image that recorded his license plate. And I mean, maybe that is him on the Linda Lane footage, and maybe it's not. The cell phone location of analysis of Kohberger's travels at the time of the murder and subsequent morning were inconclusive. It showed he was within a 10-mile radius of the murder house, but being in the vicinity is not the same as being at the precise location. Finally, it was revealed in court last month that the eyewitness identification was a lot less incriminating than the police had previously maintained. According to Kohberger's team, the witness in subsequent interviews had conceded that she had a lot to drink that night and didn't know if it was real or in my mind, was just playing with me. When police had shown her a photo of Kohberger just before his arrest, she had failed to identify him as the intruder she'd seen. In short, without the DNA evidence, Kohberger, if he was the murderer, may have committed the perfect crime. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, damn near. I mean, really, I'm just reading the chat. Hey, Jax Main. How you doing? This could have been the perfect crime if his DNA wasn't found next to the deceased bodies. Yeah. And it was like under a little. So it's like, Nobody planted that. No, nobody planted that. Okay, so do we want to go through this? Or now we'll go back to this. I was just reading to see like we listened to the one from a day ago. I don't know if this is just about Brian though. This might have other cases in it. So we'll listen to this though. Let me pull it up. It says, well, the IGG ethics free Brian Kohberger. So let's see what they have to say about this. And then we'll go from there. Let me plug my phone in. It almost died on me last night. Okay. There'll probably be commercials in the beginning.
A Fly You Home monthly membership.
Family-friendly
Sorry, and I don't have control over the volume either.
fun and entertainment. One
A little extra.
I do.
A little side.
I do. I do have control over the volume. I don't think I did.
An
Sorry.
extra large pepperoni or heart-shaped pepperoni.
That made me happy.
Today, the investigative use.
Safest place is the most dangerous.
I never knew that was there, and I've had Apple forever.
Featuring psychotherapist and author Siobhan Scott.
Thanks for joining us. Today, we are talking about the investigative use of DNA. IGG, investigative genetic genealogy. It has revolutionized crime solving, leading to breakthroughs in cold cases and the apprehension of suspects such as Brian Kohberger, the Golden State Killer, and others. Kohberger, of course, accused in the tragic University of Idaho student murders. However, this innovative tool raises some significant and ethical and psychological questions. Joining us to discuss, psychotherapist and author Siobhan Scott, who help us explore the moral ramifications of utilizing personal genetic data in criminal investigations. Siobhan, considering this is a very deeply personal thing in the nature of genetic information, what sort of psychological impacts might arise for individuals whose DNA or that of their relatives is used in such investigations without their explicit consent? And is it truly a real serious thing, or is it something that we just kind of have to live with going forward?
I think the key word is consent. And whenever we look at ethical issues, consent and informed consent, understanding all the ramifications, who's going to access the data, could there be a data breach? All that stuff is important and relevant. It does make a lot of people very uneasy. I signed up for 23andMe the minute it went out. I wanted to understand about inherited diseases. And of course, it doesn't show everything, but it does show some significant things. And if I had a serial killer in my family, I'd welcome them tracking the person down through my DNA. So I would certainly be comfortable with it. I have given consent for it to be used in that way. But I think some people have a real issue of distrust, and there may be very legitimate concerns around that. And I think ethically we should make sure that we have informed consent for those things.
Since we now have informed consent with a lot of those databases. Early on, I don't know that it was in the fine print. So the argument that's being made here in the Kohberger case specifically is that, people who signed up for this, they didn't really know that it could be used to track down somebody. And because of that, because they were unaware, whoever put their information into the databases, because of that, it shouldn't have been allowed to be used. Now, this, of course, has been used multiple times in other cases. I mean, if you're an investigator and you're trying to solve who killed the 4 college kids in your town, And this is an available resource to you, and there are no laws against using it. There is nothing there. It is still kind of the Wild West of it, because we don't have any sort of laws on the books to say, yes, you can, or no, you can. It's more so it's like a moral argument at this moment in time. Of course, you're going to look for it. You're going to use it if that's going to possibly lead you to the killer. They don't necessarily know at that moment in time it will, but it's another tool that they can use, which they did, which led to Kohberger's father, which then, of course, led to Kohberger. And we got that super, 100% match once we got Kohberger swabbed. They compared it. And it was, this is the guy, at least the guy who has the DNA on the knife sheath. The argument now on the part of the defense is everything should be thrown out, because if you didn't do that, if you took that out of the equation, nothing else would have happened. You would never have basically found the guy. It seems like a hell of an argument to try and make, but some people are behind this. They are saying, yes, this was used incorrectly. Do you think that's accurate? Because again, this is kind of a moral, psychological argument. Some people are going to say, just like you, if there's a killer in your family, you want to know. I completely agree. But some people, they don't.
Yeah, I find it, an interesting article. It's like, here's hard scientific evidence that's well understood, well documented. You can trace the genealogy to specific individuals in this way. If we look at morality, I think it's a lot more important that we catch people like this before they go on and commit other murders. I would tip the scales in that direction. I think, yes, there are privacy concerns and we need to address that and have transparency and informed consent. I go along with that. But at the same time, if I were, going to look at what tips the scales here, it's like getting these people out of, the midst of us wins the battle.
Is this something where it's just kind of a level of paranoia? I mean, there's always some level of paranoia that people have over really kind of any sort of new technology that comes out. Is it rooted more in that and probably baselessly rooted in that? My thought is, well, if you have nothing to hide, then who cares if it's out there? Now, one could argue, and I had this conversation the other day with a PhD professor who's really big into this, Dan Crane, and he's bringing up the point of, okay, well, what's the limits here to it? Like, can we use it for lesser crimes, all the way down to jaywalking, which I don't think anybody's looking at DNA for jaywalking, but lesser, somebody robbing a store, somebody breaking an entry. I mean, insert something here that's not murder. Should it be used there, or should there be a bar on this where only these type of crimes qualify to use this sort of data?
Yeah, it takes so much time and energy to do this kind of tracking. I think there would be a natural limit on how much energy goes into petty crimes. But I think we could draw the line at violent crimes, where somebody has been murdered. And I think most reasonable people will go along with that, because you mentioned the word paranoia. And yes, I know people who still won't buy something online because they're so afraid that their identity is going to be stolen, And, we're all going to be on the continuum with how worried we are about privacy. Other people were worried about somebody stealing their DNA data and doing something nefarious with it. I don't think my DNA data is all that unique or interesting, for somebody somewhere to try and take it and do something with that data. I mean, which I think is probably an impossibility anyway. It's just data, but
not yours. But they can connect somebody to that as your relative. If one of your relatives messes up,
you find all kinds of fears when there's new technology, and
I mean, I would still do it. I would do a 23andMe. I wouldn't care.
I know people that won't have microwaves in their house. I mean, it gets kind of nutty.
It does. My mom was that way for a long time with online shop. I think she still is to a certain extent. She also has I think she covers like credit cards in tinfoil or something. Because somebody's going to come in, because you always hear about that. Somebody scanning your wallet, or your purse. Like, it doesn't happen. What would you say to somebody like that, where they're feeling so insecure and so scared of somebody stealing something from you in really a way that it's out there to find a solution to a problem, find a criminal who did a violent crime of some sort. When you're talking to someone like that with kind of the irrational fears, what do you say to them? How do you try and calm that down? Is there a way, from a psychological standpoint that you take with individuals like that?
I think, it's important to not laugh at them or denigrate them, which, with some of this stuff, it can be rather funny when you hear the fears.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. Well, so am I, especially when it came to the microwave.
Yeah.
It's like, get over it. But acknowledging, usually trying to get people to listen to you, you acknowledge that it makes them nervous, and you can acknowledge the anxiety, and then just explain the basic facts. And there's going to be a percentage of people that are convinced by that, but a lot of people, if they have this heightened level of paranoia, and that's just the way they go through their life, they're probably not going to listen. They're still going to be opposed to it. But a person that's that anxious is not going to do a DNA test just because of those factors, I think.
What's interesting is I don't think a lot of people even realize you don't even have to do the DNA test yourself to be in the database. If you're up to your second cousin did it, and very likely if you have a second cousin or you have any sort of extended family, you're in that database, or at least it's close enough that they could find you if someone wanted to find you. So it doesn't even really matter anymore if you do the test or not. Someone close to you probably has at some point in time.
Yeah, very true. I can't even count how many fifth cousins I have in the world at this point. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people are connected going back to the 1600s. I mean, it's pretty amazing, and I find it miraculous. I welcome it. I think it's, a step forward for humankind to have this all connected, and we learn so much about our health risks. So I'm in the camp of tipping the scales toward this is a really good thing, and let's get over our fears about it.
The fears, I think, sometimes with people go beyond just, oh my God, they're going to accuse me of a crime. Because my argument to that is, no, they're not. They're going to eliminate you from that pool, because that's what it does. It's that good. It's not like, oh, listen, I wonder if this person. No, it will point to the right person. And if it's not you, it's not you. But I think sometimes people have other fears of their own history being brought up into this. Things that, they never talked about again. And, maybe children out there that they don't know about or suspect maybe out there or are unsure of from a different promiscuous time in their life. What about that? What about the privacy concerns there that people have with IgG? Because it can certainly be used beyond just crime solving. I can't tell you. Looked up my own on, I think it was Ancestry. And there's some folks out there that are registered and believed to be like first cousins. I have no idea who the hell they are. And it kind of opens the closet to people's skeletons. But at the same point, these are lives. These are people that matter. They shouldn't have their identity hidden because the person that created them doesn't want to be caught or doesn't want to know. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, people, they didn't sign up to have those sort of things exposed, but inevitably it does.
Yeah, it works both ways. A lot of people come to therapy after finding out dad is not their biological dad, And that can be a very tricky thing to help people navigate. Do they keep that private? Do they confront? And my husband, speaking of that, found that two of his sisters were actually half sisters and not the people that they thought. So it didn't really impact his family in that way because there had always been suspicions and other weird things. And a lot of people welcome having that information. It explains some things to them, why they felt like they never actually fit in with the other kids. And so it can be a double-edged sword, I think, probably for people who have committed indiscretions and want to keep it private, it's probably very scary for them at this point, because they are being confronted with the past and their secrets. But I think a lot of good comes from it. And it's one of those tricky things that we're going to be sorting out. How do we help people, make peace with this for a long time?
Well, yeah, without a doubt. There's someone that I know that's close to me who had a very similar thing happen to what you just said, where it turned out, one of the parents was not the actual parent. They found this out after they had passed. And they had been very, very close to that person all the way up until death. Now, in reality, that doesn't necessarily change any sort of relationship that you'd have with that person. If that person was a mother or a father to you, and they were that person to you, that's how they were in life, then that's who they were in life. It's just the DNA that doesn't necessarily match up. I suppose you do have the choice. You are rolling the dice if you sign up for one of those services to look at that information yourself. That could reveal something like that. You can't control your family members from signing up, and then at Thanksgiving you get oh, by the way, you can't believe what I just found out. You may just need to say, I don't want to know. Don't tell me about it. So there is that, but I mean, the information could still come to you even if you don't want it. Again, is it just kind of one of those things in life that is now here? It's a newer piece of technology. It helps us solve crimes. It helps people find out the reality of what their life is, and helps them deal with reality on reality terms. The problem is a lot of people aren't so good at dealing with reality on reality's terms.
Yeah, they're not. I have seen it be incredibly helpful in cases of adoptees looking for, who are my biological relatives. And it's been a good thing, but undoubtedly there are people who put kids up for adoption that don't want to be found. And so the double-edged sword there. But it's here. It's not going away. More and more people are using it. It's becoming the norm rather than the exception. So I think it's another one of those things we're just going to have to adjust to it and know that there will occasionally be tricky problems we have to help people work out.
One of the, I made an analogy the other day on this, and I'm not too sure how it holds up, but it was as we get new technology, and this specifically relates to the crime area of this, radar detectors were new ones too. That was new technology. It used to have to be the police saw you speeding or doing something illegal, then they would go after you, but they had to kind of guess if you were speeding. And it had to be pretty obvious. One could argue, well, I didn't sign up for anybody to be able to check that out, my speed information on me. Well, yeah, but the technology exists that they can do that now, and then they can use that to basically stop a crime. That crime, fairly minute in most cases, speeding, unless you're insane with it. But again, it's there. It happens. We just kind of have to deal with it. Do you think this is going to be the argument that it is right now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, as it just becomes more generationally accepted as part of life?
Yeah, it is just a part of life. It is not going to go away. And I think people will become less freaked out and paranoid by it, hopefully, over time. And ultimately, it's, I think, going to be a benefit. I think overall, it will do a lot of good. And yeah, speaking of radar, what about those cameras at intersections? How unfair is that? I've been tagged a couple times that way. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's one of those things where we have weird laws where
don't speed.
Audio seems to be the big one in most cases. I think in most places you can be filmed without your consent. Now, it's one thing if you're going to use it commercially or something, but you can be filmed without your consent. And that's one of those things where, people can be mad at that too. And you could, I guess, theoretically get legislation in place that says that you can't do that. I don't think it would ever pass anymore because everybody's got a camera and everybody's filming everything everywhere they go. But again, it's kind of part of life.
Everybody except for Brian Kohberger, when he's out looking at the stars, he takes no pictures with his phone because his phone is turned off.
As it is now. And whether you like it or not, it's there. It can be used for good. I guess it can be used for bad in some I don't even know ways quite yet.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and it's likely it's going to be here to stay.
Yep.
Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free.
So weird that they do like their podcast and then like 7 minutes, like there should still be 7 minutes left. It's like all commercials. Let me see if it is.
Child's next birthday party at the
.com or
Yeah.
Chair. Contact lenses. Warby Parker locations also.
I mean, that's actually pretty cool rather than putting them in between, like him talking. Let me take that banner down. Oh wait, my camera's not on. I was like, why isn't my camera on? But I think that's all I really had for you guys for tonight. I have plenty more stuff to show you. We're just gonna do some more tomorrow. We're an hour and a half in. I don't want to bore you guys too much. With me talking. I've tried to take pictures of the stars with my phone. Yeah. And don't call me ridiculous, please. That's not very nice. I want to do one too, Lord Mama. I thought about doing one, but then doing it online. Oh, but then I'd have to put my personal information in, and then I'd have to not show that, So I don't know how that would work, but maybe we could. Because I've always been intrigued by that kind of stuff. And if my family members are out there doing some stuff like this, take my DNA and convict them and throw away the key. Because that's not very good people, not very good people to have around you. I did look on, I was still scrolling through, but I was looking on, X to see if there was anything, about Brian, but there's not. It's just the stuff that we've already went through. They're all talking about the Howard Blum article. Trying to see. I don't see anything else really. And just the blood evidence and stuff. So we'll go back. We'll go to the home. What's this? Ooh. I don't see anything. So hopefully you guys had a great Wednesday and hopefully it was a good live for you guys. Sorry, I thought there was a little more I could find for you, but it looks like I was looking for stuff, looking up videos and stuff. What's his name? Chris McDonough. He did a video a couple hours ago. I've never watched. I don't think I've watched a full video of his ever. Looks like he went over the PCA. And he's wearing a hat. I don't think I've ever seen him in a hat. So tomorrow I have a live scheduled. And for in the morning, it's going to be at 12:15 on my second channel, on my other channel. I guess Ray Hughes is going over Brian Kohberger, but they're watching the court hearing. That doesn't sound like fun. We already watched that. I don't know. I don't ever see myself watching a court hearing twice. If I can't grasp it in the first sitting of it, I don't want to do it again. Because it's usually torture. I mean, some of those hearings can be really torture. But I don't see anything too much. I don't know what else is going to look up. I don't think anything. Michelle, you like McDonough? I never watch him. I watch him when he's on like Nancy Grace. I'll listen to him, but Craig got pissed at you last night. What'd you do? Not give him a super chat? When he said he was did you see the video of him when he was like in jail and he was like, someone needs to bail me out? Nobody bailed him out. He was getting so mad. He was getting so mad about it. Oh man. Maybe he did. Maybe he did take photos. But he would have had to use a camera to do that, like, and not a phone, because his phone was turned off. Oh, thanks, Mary Beth. I bet you're sleepy. Greg can be kind of funny. He can be. He's out there all right though. But that's what I was going to do. I was going to put the link for the second channel in the chat. So if you guys want to come over tomorrow at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to do a live over on the other channel. It's just it's like my life vlog channel, but this is about true crime, but it kind of falls in line with my life vlog because I'm a true crime creator. So, you know. Let's see. One of these days I may just protect him and never let him come on camera. People can be mean, you know? And to me, they would be mean to me. And they would say something, I think, about him, like, just to get to me. Because they know that's my kryptonite. But he probably wouldn't care. He'd probably come on. Okay, sure, Sherry. I want to YouTube. Yes, he'll have to come on. He really will. I'll get him on one of these days. He did say once I hit like 100,000 subscribers, and I said, how about 25,000? And I remember saying that and him going, like, yeah, maybe. This is back when I had like 100 people. You know what I mean? So I didn't have a whole lot. I don't think that he thought at the time, neither of us did, that my channel would grow. I don't think that even right to this day, I don't think like, oh, in this many months, I'll have this many subscribers or this many year. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just try to work on better in the channel. So I'll have to Blue Cake Butterfly. He would come on probably if I really bothered him about it. I thought we could do something like on the live vlog channel, if nothing else. Like if he doesn't want to do something live at first, because he's like very nervous person, we could do a pre-recorded where we eat like Japanese candies. I could try Japanese candies because we all know I don't like Japanese food. So I thought maybe I could try the candy. And Vincent loves Japanese candies, and the noises he makes when he eats them, it's so funny. It's so funny. Like he enjoys every minute of it. So I think that would be kind of fun. But what else? Oh yeah, so tomorrow I'll have the live. And then we'll come back over here, you know, at night. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys. I'm gonna look up a Dickie suit. And I might do a little experimente. But you guys will be included if I do the experiment. Also, Mary Beth, I got your order shipped out today. And the Wandering Orphan made us, or me, I guess, this little logo up here. Do you see it? It's the white one. I thought that was very nice of her. I thought that was cute. And then this is like my regular like logo that I use, but I think I like the white. I don't know. The white seems like it pops more. But the TB is cute in a way because it's my real initials, like my initials in real life. My last name starts with a B, you know, and my first name starts with obviously a T. So the TitaniumBuilt, it just kind of, I don't know, it works. That's why I do capital T, capital B. If people wondered why I did it like that, that's why. So it was so good to see everybody tonight. It was good to see some of y'all haven't been in here in a while. It was really nice. Thank you, Michelle. That's what I'm going to do. Yep. I just ignore the drama and stay over here in my little pocket. Well, I went to Duchess's live today, and I wish I could have stayed in there longer, but I was at home. I got home from the grocery, so. Yeah, she's not in here tonight, but we'll have to thank her. It was cute. It was really cute. I like that you guys think of me. It makes that really makes my day. It really does. Like whenever, it's like she sent me that, she's like, I made this for you. And I was just like, oh, like that's really sweet. That's really really nice when people take the time out. Like Steve, we played, remember he made us that song? We played it for like ever. I love that. I still have it. I will never ever get rid of that song. It will always be on the playlist there. Like I'll delete everything around it. Also, people were asking me what the song was that the intro outro song. It's Robin Houston, Light It Up. That's what it's saying on my end anyway. And then we do have 2 other songs that we use, one for our members now, and then we have a new one for our second channel. So you'll hear the second song tomorrow. So I'll see you guys all over on the second channel tomorrow morning or afternoon at 12:15. And I will see you. If not, I'll see you over here at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our regular live. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful day tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We're gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out.